Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia. If you're new here, welcome, to my channel When the Priestess Speaks. Today, I'd just like to unpack a little bit about the concept of self awareness. Um, it's something that is thrown around quite a bit in personal growth spaces as well as psychology, self help spaces, spiritual spaces. But self awareness can be a sort of a, rather beautiful trap. Because understanding yourself deeply, while it's actually really important, you can end up actually feeling pretty stuck in the same old patterns. And what I kind of want to tell you today or unpack today is that you are not alone in this and you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. This is just, the limitations of self awareness. So, personally, for me, for a very, very long time, I thought I was, doing all the personal growth work that I was supposed to be doing. So, I was, self aware. I could name my attachment styles. I could trace my triggers back to childhood moments with frightening accuracy. I could explain my patterns to friends, to therapists, to, writing in my journals, strangers on the internet, and yet, my life wasn't really moving. Or if it was, it felt like I was taking one step forward and two steps back. Different people I'll meet in life will have the same dynamics. Different jobs I'll go to, I'll have the same sort of like toxic dynamic or same sort of, burnout or exhaustion. Different years, same internal pressure. And what confused me most was this: I wasn't really unconscious anymore. I was actually doing the work. And in fact, I was doing so much work. And in fact, you could be like me. You could be going for coaching, you could be attending workshops and, reading books, self help books, and so on and so forth, right? But it could have come to a point in time where you start to ask yourself, why isn't anything in my life actually really changing? And that question actually haunted me for a really long time. And this is why. So, in a lot of personal growth spaces, awareness or self awareness is sold to people as the finish line. If you can see the pattern, if you are aware of it, you're supposed to be free from it. If you can name the childhood wound that you have, name the romantic wound that you have, healing should automatically follow. But that wasn't my experience at all. What I slowly, painfully realized over time was this: self awareness had become a barrier, in essence, where I know lots of things about myself consciously, but I didn't know how to bridge the knowing with the doing and making the changes to kind of living the life that I wanted to live. So I kept circling around the same insights, just at a higher level of articulation. Okay. And here's the uncomfortable truth that many people do not say out loud: awareness doesn't automatically create the changes that you want to see in your life. What the missing piece really is that the knowledge of something doesn't necessarily indicate having the techniques to make the habit stick, knowing how your energy works. Because self awareness or conscious knowledge may sometimes miss out on unconscious stuff like your shadow self, your inner child wounding, and so much more. Because the part of you that repeats patterns is not the part that has the conscious knowledge that knows logically what to do. It's the nervous system, it's the body, it's the energetic load that you've been carrying for years, sometimes even decades. So every single time I tried to do better, I was actually asking an already overloaded system to perform transformation, personal growth transformation, without actually changing the conditions it was actually operating under. That's when I stopped asking myself, what is wrong with me? That was not the question I was supposed to be asking, because I do know what is wrong with me, so to speak. I instead flipped it around and started asking, what am I actually working with? What are the limitations and the gaps within myself? What are the missing pieces? What does my system actually need to create real change? And that sort of thinking and reflection and tons of self help work and client work over the years has led me to build what I now call my three-part sovereign diagnostic framework. And it's not a concept, okay, but it's a necessity, and it's how I actually live my life. Because you cannot design a new life without first understanding the system that has to live that kind of new life. Okay, it's basically going deeper and really, really understanding yourself. The first layer is what I call your energetic archetype or your energetic blueprint. It's a five element mapping of how your system naturally processes stress, desire, movement, rest, and pressure. Understanding which energetic archetype you are can make you understand why you make the decisions that you do and why you're so drawn to certain people, certain events, and certain things in your life. So some archetypes push forward instinctively when they're stressed or when they're actually chasing after a goal. Some people or some archetypes conserve energy. Some burn bright and fast and burn out. Okay. Some hold everything quietly together until they collapse internally. So, different people, we all have different archetypes. But without knowing this, we keep copying strategies that work for other people and wondering why we feel like them. Okay. The second layer is what I call a nervous system and shadow calibration. So, this is where we stop pretending that insight alone or awareness alone can rewire your survival responses. Because if your body learned, for example, love, okay, loving someone else, through instability or certain forms of trauma, it will then crave intensity and sometimes instability in your adult life, no matter how secure your cognitive beliefs are or how aware you are of your beliefs. Because beliefs are, it's a surface level. It's the your conscious awareness, trauma, and your shadow self. They live in your body subconsciously a lot of the times when many of us are actually unable to tap into and unable to really truly understand ourselves is because we have no understanding of our subconscious minds. So if your system, your bodily system, actually learned safety through performance, through achievement, to trying really hard and efforting, um, a lot of things in life will actually feel dangerous. Okay, so it's not actually necessarily healing that you are experiencing. So until the nervous system is regulated, self-awareness simply gives it more language to justify the same old types of behavior. So you find yourselves, repeating patterns without actually really knowing why. And finally, the third layer is what I call the subconscious to conscious integration. So it's not just mindset hacking, not just, affirmations over dysregulation, because those things help immensely, but sometimes it's not enough. Okay, but this is what I call installation. Okay, teaching your body, your system, your entire energetic wiring new responses after safety exists. So this is where choice becomes real, not theoretical. And here's what surprised me the most. Once I had understood, okay, my own energetic maps, okay, unearth my shadow self and anchored it with the right habits, I actually stopped blaming myself. Okay, things that once bothered me stopped doing so because I could understand my shadow self better. I could understand my energetic archetypes better and what is actually driving my energy and my impulses and my triggers. And I then came to understand that I wasn't broken. I was just misdesigned for the life that I was forcing myself into. So if you have been doing the work for many, many years and nothing seems to stick, this isn't a failure of discipline or your own desire. Okay, it's just a missing blueprint. You just need to understand yourself a little bit better. And self awareness, no matter how refined, no matter how many times you have done it or how long, self awareness is not enough to actually really, really understand yourself at a very deep level. Okay, because awareness is logical and conscious. It occurs on a superficial layer of the mind, but human beings, as you know, we are all complex. And there are lots of uncharted territory, especially when it comes to our subconscious, our energetic wiring, and self awareness is alone can, it doesn't really, really cut through all of that. So if you're interested, okay, in going beyond just your typical self-awareness stuff and finding out more about the lay of your land, so to speak, your energetic archetype, the shadow self that may be coming up, and having a set of integrative tools that can help you to move the needle from just knowing yourself to making the change that you always wanted to see and living the dream life that you always wanted to live. Well, if you're interested, just drop me a message on my Instagram, which I'll link in the description box down below. Or you can wait for my diagnostic energetic archetype books on love patterns to actually drop soon. So it's a three-parter. And it's really to help you kind of really, really understand why certain people are the way they are and why do they, get into certain relationships and attract certain people in their lives. So those are quick and very bite-sized books to help you on your romantic journey, because so many of you have actually, a lot of my readers and my viewers actually say they struggle with this. So that would help, hopefully. And I also have one-on-one energetic archetype mapping sessions and consults. You can reach out to me for more details, or you can click on the link down below in the box, in the description box. Okay, so this is Sonia signing off. Okay, I hope this three-parter system where I, unpack a little bit more about how you can actually understand yourself better and going beyond self-awareness. I hope this actually helps you to really understand why sometimes personal growth is so, our journey is kind of stuck. It feels very stuck for us because there's so much more about ourselves that we actually don't really know. So I hope this was helpful. Okay, this is Sonia signing off, and I will see you in the next video.